If I had the opportunity to go back in time and tell myself something, I wouldn't do it because who I am now is because of who I was.
Realistically, I'd probably go back and tell myself to start TikTok sooner. So I'd be bigger. So today I'm going to be talking to Jake from Vsauce about time travel. H.G. Wells wrote a science fiction novella called The Time Machine in 1895. This was the story that first popularized the concept of time travel by mechanical means.
If you did go back in the past and change an event, even if it was very minuscule, it would then split the timeline. So it self-corrects in a way where this timeline is still the same as it was, but now you've created a different timeline that you exist on. And this time is still happening.
So your existence in the last timeline doesn't exist anymore because you've left, technically.
Well, that's the thing. So you exist up until the point when you went back in time. Mm-hmm. And then you're still going. But then it always brings up this question of, okay, so when you leave, what then happens to time in the present if you're no longer there? Does it keep going? Do people outside of that time bubble still exist? Or is everyone stuck in this time loop with you?
That's an interesting thought. Like, personally, I would like to go to the future just because I want to see it. But, like, with that question, I wouldn't know when exactly I would want to go to. And then, like, thinking of the past, it's like there's not very many places in the past that I would be accepted. So, I don't know. Anywhere I go, I'd just be a witch.
That seems always to be the first thing. It's like, oh, you go back in time and you invest in Google stock or, like, Apple stock or Netflix stock. Am I right? But it's like, how do you have the money? Because the money that you have now, unless you just collect currency from like 1997, isn't going to work because your bills aren't going to read right. So like you have to then go back in time and work a lot to get enough money to then invest in these things. And then how do you get your future self, who is you in the present, to know about it or get that stuff? But if we think about the time machine, the thing that I love about that story is because time moves at a constant rate. Right? Time is the same. What changes is our perception of time. Time is fixed, but our perception can adjust. Like your perception of a minute might be different than my perception of a minute. And in time...
It's all relative.
Yes, it is. And in the time machine, that story is basically, he sits in his time machine, everything else whizzes by him, but from the perspective of people going by him, it just looks like a dude asleep in a machine. But it brings up one of my favorite points about time travel that they never seem to talk about, is when you travel through time, let's use the DeLorean in Back to the Future. It's a machine, it's no longer set on the ground. It moves, it drives, or it flies, depending on which sequel we're talking about. How do you know where you would end up? Because time is fixed, but space isn't.
Let's say there's a dude that goes into like an empty field like 200 years ago, and he shoots for 200 years, and then bam, he's just like in the middle of concrete in New York City. Yeah. He's inside a building now, but dead because he is in the wrong spot.
Because that's the thing, like everything changes around him. But in this version, which is a little bit exaggerated maybe, but you have to worry about once you pop back into like 1954, you're just in the vastness of space.
Oh, that too, because
the Earth has
moving.
Like it's constantly moving, it's constantly spinning. Our entire solar system, our entire universe is constantly moving.
But if you think of it as like rewinding a VHS tape or something, like the Earth, if you're going back in time, you'd still be on Earth because I'm imagining everything kind of like rewinding and you'd still be in that spot. You wouldn't be in space. I like that idea. I thought about that idea for a little bit, but I feel like you'd still be on Earth.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, that's the thing where
not just in the void.
It depends on what version of time travel we talk about. Like, yeah, there's the VHS one where you just rewind.
The butterfly effect is a term coined by mathematician Edward Lorenz to describe events observed in chaos theory, where one teeny tiny change in the initial conditions can result in vastly different outcomes. There's no proof that time travel exists because the butterfly effect is already taking effect and we're not aware of it.
The butterfly effect to me still applies even without the idea of time travel. Because to your story just then, every little thing you did, the reason that you got TikTok, the reason you started TikTok, showing up in the feed, those were all ripples, right? That went throughout not only your life, but other people's lives then. So it affected change, and that's what the butterfly effect is. Regardless of if there was time travel involved, like the butterfly effect still is in existence.
It exists, yes. Butterfly effect exists. It works with time travel, but it's not exclusive to time travel.
Yeah. Because basically they use it, in movies as, you go back in time and then this ripple effect happens and it disrupts everything. The butterfly flapping its wings here caused a hurricane over here. It's like, well, that just happens regardless, even without time travel.
With time travel though, it's you risk manipulating things and changing it to the way that you don't want it to be.
Groundhog Day, starring Bill Murray. In this 90s movie, his character is forced to relive February 2nd, aka Groundhog Day, over and over until he learns from his mistakes, becoming less selfish and more caring with each loop.
So let's talk about the Groundhog's Day thing, like the idea that you're stuck in like a period of time, day after day after day. I personally think that'd be hell. Like the first day or two would be kind of cool. Like you get to mess around with some stuff, but then you realize you're actually stuck there. That'd be a nightmare for me.
I would agree with you. I mean, this is, so when it comes to differences in time travel, this is an interesting one where what is traveling through time is the memory, right? So in Groundhog's Day, Bill Murray isn't actually, at the end of the day, him physically isn't going back to the beginning. It's just his memory of the day going back to the past. And that's how he then knows.
Yeah, because nobody else around him knows what's going on. They don't remember it, just him. He's aware.
Yeah, he's aware of it. But that's the other thing, too, is like all of these people, even though they don't get to have memories go back in time, are also in the loop because they're there every single day. He sees them, they do the same exact action. So they are also being in this repeat cycle. But the thing that I love about this, just to agree with you, yeah, it'd be a nightmare. And I would hope that never happens.
I never want to wake up the same day.
Okay, excluding the times where he kills himself, does he keep going? Because again, it's just his memory that's going back in time. So again, are we stuck on another little loop? And time is still going forward after that day. It's just that the memory that this Bill Murray has is from the future, from a day in the future. But that could still mean that Bill Murray is still traveling forward to the future. It's just his memory goes back to him a day ago.
On a grander scale, I love the genre of time travel in entertainment because it begs a huge set of fascinating questions about what would be possible in a world where time wasn't fixed, like time tourism, teleportation, and even immortality.
With time tourism, like the idea that, like you said, the airport, like just going to 1962 and like going to the future. The cool part would be like seeing everything like with your own eyes, like experience history. There's so many negatives to it. Like one that I like to think of is the whole like germs and like how you're probably going to get other people sick. They're going to get you sick just because you're not immune to different things like that. That's one big one.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Just basically doing chemical warfare to a whole entire population. You don't want to do that.
No.
I mean,
if you go back in time, you're going to kill everybody. If you go in the future, they're going to kill you.
Most likely. And that's the thing, like, I guess you could do it. I guess it'd be more like time voyeurism instead of tourism, because you can't really interact with things. You'd have to specifically not interact. You could watch, but you can't obviously influence anything. Because those implications, if we talk about like the butterfly effect, stuff like that, could be far-reaching and never-ending.
But wouldn't you just being there already affect things? Like, I feel like when they talk about the butterfly effect, it's like, oh, we can't mess with anything. And it's like, but your existence there is messing with things already. Like, stuff is bound to happen just by you being there.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think. If it ever were to happen, it would have to be more of a, almost like VR experience. Where we just have like a little camera that goes in there. And it's like, oh, now you can look in. But you are not in that time. You're here. And you're just seeing a feed of that time.
That'd be the safe way to do it.
Theoretically, time slips could be possible via what physicists refer to as wormholes.
I wish I had a piece of paper next to me. But, you know, what's the point of
The whole folded piece of paper with the pen through it.
From Event Horizon, that's where I learned it. But that's my favorite visualization of it, is that it basically bends point A and point B and puts them together. It's a shortcut through time and space. You know, they're theorized. Einstein thinks they exist, so who am I to contradict him? I just make videos on YouTube. But it makes sense. They should exist. But the thing is, we don't know what's on the other end, and we don't know what happens to you when you go in it. There's no clue. Would it take you to a different time? Ostensibly so, but it would also take you to a completely different place. If we just were to find one in space. We have no idea what's on the other side.
We have no idea how to find them, if they're real, what they do. It's kind of just a math idea that some smart dude thought of.
And if time travel were possible, both backwards and forwards, then to me, I think the most realistic way that would happen is that if all of time is happening on top of itself, right? So the past, the present, and the future are all happening at the same time.
What you mean is like this moment that I'm experiencing right now is the present, but technically also the past, but also kind of the future because it's all happening at the same time.
Yeah. So it's like
Same time.
1950 is happening right now. So if you wanted to get to it, and this could involve a wormhole, you just have to travel through space and time to get to that timeline.
Now write the blueprints to make the machine that does this. Jake, thank you so much for being on the show. I had a lot of fun talking about time travel and all that. Let the people know what you have going on.
Well, you can check me out on youtube.com/vsauce3. And that's really about all I got. That's all I have in my life is that YouTube channel.
Check out Vsauce 3.